6 years ago, I sat behind this exact same microphone as a recovering perfectionist with the sweaty armpits, the sweaty nose, and just absolutely terrified to mess up any word that would come out of my mouth. Now, today I'll tell you that this little show, this teeny tiny little show, the Going Long podcast with yours truly, Billy Keels, sits in the top 1.5% of podcasts globally. And there's more than 5 million podcasts out there. So if you're a senior leader in corporate and you're making multiple six, maybe seven figures, and there's still something in your gut that is screaming that you are going to use and leverage those skills outside of the corporate walls, then this 6th anniversary episode is exactly what you need so you can start ignoring all the doubters that are there, start to leverage your capital. And also, you know what? You want to be able to start to build your own dream on the side, because I want to help you get to optionality. So let's go. Today's episode is sponsored by Billy Keels Advisory Services. If you want to learn more about how to make your 99 optional, just go to makeitoptional.com. Once again, that's makeitoptional.com.
Helping you build freedom without losing your edge. This is the Going Long podcast with Billy Keels.
In my wildest dreams, I would have never thought that 6 years later, I'd be here sharing this episode with you, realizing that I consider myself to be one of the most blessed, fortunate people in the world. So much has taken place, so much has transpired, but the whole thing is this was a recovering perfectionist who wanted to really come up with a podcast platform that was going to be a thought leadership platform. That was the whole reason that I sat down behind this microphone. Now, of course, the very first time 6 years ago in June of 2026, I was sitting down, my armpits were sweating, my nose was sweating, I was super nervous, and I just didn't want to mess up any of the words, right? That's the recovering perfectionist in me. Because what I wanted to do was get to a point where I could actually have this platform, be able to attract the people that I wanted to attract and that my guests wanted to attract, to be able to share knowledge. Now, of course, at the time, most of, if not all of my guests were much more experienced than I was in the way that we started the podcast. And it has truly taken on a life of its own, and be able to be here and share, I'm going to tell you in just a couple minutes, but like over 639 published episodes at this point, and we have more to share with you. I do consider it a blessing. I consider it a privilege to be here. And so it's just one of those things like, it was supposed to be a thought leadership platform. And of course, I wanted to be able to break through all the fears. I wanted to be able to get started. I wanted to be able to get to a point where I could actually do this podcast and do it right along my full-time job. Now, keep in mind, my full-time job, I was doing a bunch of different things, everything from managing a business of $100 million across Europe, Middle East, and Africa. Of course, it was in euros, so I'm doing the translation for you. Or living on another continent, the 1-year sabbatical that's turned into 25 and counting. Having a successful corporate career and having over 500 million estimated in terms of IT sales across hardware and software, probably drastically underestimated, by the way. But even beyond that, like, one of the things that I wanted to be able to do was to show to myself, to my kids, that I would be able to build my skills, my network, and also be able to attract attention all while I was working in a full-time corporate role that was paying me multiple six figures in salary. It was a personal thing, a personal challenge, a personal goal. And I'm so glad that I did that, because what I realized is everything that I was doing in corporate, everything was going well. And there was still this yearning inside of me, like this desire to create something that went beyond money. At the time, and maybe in the very beginning, I was thinking, short term and this and that and blah, blah, blah. But it became so much more. It's like I said, it was a thought leadership platform to attract people. But what it actually became really for me was that whole point of being able to sit here, being able to share stories with you, helping you to be able to grow, to get to your goals and your dreams faster by being able to invest the time to create this platform for you. But also for me, I wanted the skill set that I was building to be able to be transferable beyond the corporate walls, beyond the four walls of corporate. because the things that I was doing inside of corporate, I was excelling at a really, really high level. And I wanted to be able to build something on my own. And I wanted to be able to create a space so that you and I can talk about the things that we want to talk about. We can learn about the things we want to learn about. We want to connect with the people that are part of our ecosystem, part of our network, because I'm very blessed and have amazing guests who are here, who've been in the corporate world, who have continued to realize like, hey, listen, they wanted to build something on the side, and they're helping you by sharing the things that worked really well, the things that didn't work well, bringing it all to you so that you don't have to go through and suffer through the same challenges. If they've already paid a full price for it, they don't want you to pay full price for it. Get it at a discount, learn from their mistakes. And I remember to this point, there was and I hired a coach. I've talked about it very publicly, almost paid him 6 figures. I invested 6 figures in myself while I was in corporate to one person, right? One person. And that person suggested that I have a podcast. But you know what I did? Recovering Perfectionist Billy, the one that was telling you about where we are right now, I thought about it. I wanted to make it perfect. I wanted to get every single thing done perfectly before I got started. Now, let me tell you, 6 years in, that's not the way to do it, because you're probably not going to get here and be able to share. And what I realized is through that, he gave me the vision, but I actually had to take the first step. I had to get out of my own way. I had to realize, yes, I can excel at my job, and I can still be here to get experts to share their experiences with you so that you can move forward faster. But none of it would have started if it weren't for my buddy Tyler Sheff. And it's been way too long since we've connected, but sat down that very first episode, and it was about how do we get episode number 1 done? How do we get it edited? How do we begin to attract more guests? And then got to a point where there were 20 episodes recorded. And then after that, in June of 2026, welcome to the world. Here we go. The Going Long podcast with yours truly, Billy Keels, was born. Now, I would also have to say that this wasn't an easy journey. It hasn't been an easy journey. This was all started, right, 2020. That was during the pandemic. Everybody was locked down. So there was a lot of friction. There was a lot of challenge. I can tell you myself, the person that I was closest to in the world told me, don't do it. It's a waste of time. It's going to be way too much. Stop this. Don't do the podcast. It's told over and over, don't do it. Stop the podcast. And I can tell you, I am so glad that this podcast has been a source of inspiration and a desire to want to be here to continue to pour into you, to share with you the knowledge, the expertise, what's worked well, what hasn't worked well. And so I'm glad that I listened to my gut, right? Instead of someone else who wanted to disrupt this thing, because then we wouldn't have 6 years together. We wouldn't have 630 episodes of sharing what's worked well, what hasn't worked well. And now, as you continue to move towards your goal of making your role optional, your corporate role, your 6-figure, sometimes probably 7-figure role, you want to make it optional so you can enjoy what you do every day and be building your own dream, doing that on the side. That was the thing. And I'm so thankful, because at that same time in that 2020, in those early days, I mean, I think about, being in the living room and my son coming in and being quiet and crawling under the table. I was speaking to one of my kids the other day, and he was sharing that story with me, and just put a smile on our face, right? Think about that 6 years ago when all that was going on. And so I'm sure I'll thank them again, but I really want to thank my boys, because they were quiet, they were crawling, and they are the ones that allowed these podcasts to continue to be here to share and bring forward a lot of the lessons that we'll continue to learn. And also want to throw another shout out to my buddy Jerome Myers, because 2 years ago, when it was the relaunch of the podcast, when I stopped talking for a while because life was happening for me, recognize that now, didn't recognize it then. And Jerome Myers was kind enough to be here to put me on the other side of the microphone. Maybe ask him back again sometime. I can answer some more questions. Don't know how my boys would feel about that, but hey, if you've been here for long enough, you know the inside joke there. So I'm very, very grateful. I can't thank you enough. This is a brief episode just to say, yes, it's 6 years. Yes, it's been amazing. And the fact that this podcast is now, believe it's 639 episodes. If you're listening to this, it's been 6 years. We're very blessed to be in the top 1.5% of podcasts globally. And that is knowing that there are 5 million plus podcasts and growing, and this little podcast, little teeny tiny podcast, is in the top 1.5% of podcasts globally. Thank you for continuing to be here, for continuing to ask your questions, for continuing to leave your reviews, for continuing to share this podcast, because the goal is to be here for many years to come, to continue to share with you strategies, tactics, tips, introduce you to new people that will inspire you to continue to take either the first step or continue to take the next step. And of course, we've been listened to in over 90 countries, which I think is just absolutely phenomenal. Global podcast. And as I say, thank you for being here. And as we celebrate this 6th anniversary of the Going Long podcast with yours truly, Billy Keels, I also want to share with you that it's helped me to also learn to leverage this platform, to be able to communicate more effectively, to continue to attract more people, more senior leaders who are interested in continuing to excel in your role, and at the same time, be able to build your profitable business on the side. Being able to focus more on your outcomes, not on the overall hours, and be able to have this global network of business owners, corporate senior leaders, and people who want to continue to contribute to others, to the well-being of others. And I feel very blessed to be here. This is just a pure thank you very much for your attention. Thank you very much for continuing to support the Going Long podcast with yours truly, Billy Keels. Today, share the episode with as many people as you can, as many people as you want. And I'm here to say thank you. And I want to be back here for another 6 years. Can we do another 6 years? Does that sound great? So with that, thank you very much. Appreciate your attention. Appreciate you. You know where I'll be. I'll be right here preparing for the next episode. So until then, go out and make it a great day. And thank you very, very much.